Matthias we're not allowed to talk about the football. He's from Germany.
Damn it.
Sorry, dude.
I woke up and
Yeah. So no questions about football in the Q&A chat, especially because they lost to Japan. Just saying. So, welcoming Matthias. He is a technologist, a designer, and a photographer, currently based in sunny Nelson, born in Germany. He was among the first generation of digital natives. I feel like, does that make you sound old?
What does that mean?
I don't know. You wrote it. I don't know what it means. You can talk about what it means.
I can try to make it up.
Yeah, make it up as we go along. They won't know. And we'll edit it out. We were about to lose him to Australia along with his wife, but fortunately for us, along came Shuttlerock and piqued his interest, and he is now their Chief Technology Officer based in Nelson. And he's here to talk to us this afternoon about creative technology and the advances in generative AI. Please welcome Matthias.
Thank you. Thank you. Kira, hello everybody. I'm really excited to be here. I was asked a year ago to talk, and it was an amazing year. So I've updated my talk a little bit to kind of make do for those advances. I work for a company called Shuttlerock, which piqued my interest, which is an amazing company, an amazing team. We actually were founded in Rangiora, here near Christchurch, but I get to that in a second. Just a little artwork here from Georg Nees, who's actually a German guy, from '68, kind of to tee off my chat about creative technology advances in generative AI. It's not going to be super technical. I try to keep it as light and digestible as I can. So who am I? Pip said it. I'm kind of this hybrid person. Yes, CTO of Shuttlerock, technologist, like always fascinated by computers from early on. Also trained artist and photographer. So I've always been in this world between creativity and technology. Hence my talk and why I'm interested in Shuttlerock, and I think it's an amazing company, what we're doing. Shuttlerock, like in a nutshell, they're people who are amazing in telling what we're actually doing. I think Shuttlerock empowers marketeers to produce at creative, at speed, scale, quality, cost effectiveness. And we have our own in-house team, and we are fusing that with our own proprietary technology platform. Founded in Rangiora, amazing. We are now a global company. It's really, really exciting, 250 employees. I joined just 2 years ago. The team has done an amazing job scaling this company to this point, and we hope to go even further. Yeah, the team is really everything. Shuttlerock's an amazing team. I can't stress that enough. I want to talk about generative AI. So you might have seen in the description, so it's evolved a little bit because the advances in the last year have been phenomenal. I just want to stress AI. I'm not talking about Terminator or something, right? It's always like, oh, AI. It's like in bold generative, and I think generative is like, for me, is to create. Yes, a little bit more techie, but it's like creating something. I think that's really key here, and I'll try to illustrate this a bit. The AI field is probably not new for the most of you. This is what, these are machine learning, AI, machine learning is part of AI, is always a little bit fuzzy sometimes. Papers per month, amazing, right? This is the hockey stick, it's an explosion in people researching and producing tangible results. When I learned about machine learning, early days, logic, it was like really a snooze fest. Nothing happened, basically, and the advance amazing, amazing. Generative AI can be split into more subthings where we can apply it to. They're amazing. You might have heard GTP3 from OpenAI. Amazing advances there. In code as well. I'm going to focus on image and video. Text is equally important. It's like fundamental, as we know, to everything. Speech, right? It's amazing thoughts. in their purest form. There's also audio in games is going to be big. The metaverse, some of these are going to be inputs, I believe, or we believe, into the metaverse. But there's also, it's most amazing, proteins. And who would have known, there seems to be a connection between proteins and text, that the model, they are somehow transferable. There's also, I'm not an expert in this, but I was like, wow, this is amazing. The same with images. I'm going to show you some examples soon, where it's like a refined text model, which is like producing images. And it's like, oh, wow, this is like amazing. AI technology, you know, can always be a little bit frightening. So I just want to go back a second in time and kind of remind us that nothing to be afraid of. It's going to change things, but this has always been a strong correlation or an interaction between creativity and technology. This is not new. Yes, it's maybe mind-bending, but it's nothing new. The Gutenberg press, right, this little village I've been to, is like, oh, you know, in Europe, in Germany, it's amazing. Camera obscura, right? I remember when I had like basics in painting, we discussed this a lot. It's like, oh yeah, it's gonna kill the painting. And yes, it has changed painting, but they're still amazing painters, right? And it's like, people are still working with this, and they found like a lot of landscapes that have been painted. They found out when they X-rayed it and whatnot, they found out like a lot of amazing artists used the camera obscura to kind of, you know, get inspired and get some outlines and, you know, kind of incorporated this into their practice. I think it's the same, or it has been the same with computers and the internet. Is, you know, I think it's the C64. One of my first computer is like, oh wow, is this gonna change? And it's like, oh, there's an anxiety and there are challenges, right? We have seen with the internet, but it's a natural thing, and I think we have to. I think my message is let's not be afraid of it. Yeah, that's I think is wrong. There are challenges. Let's embrace it. That's what I'm saying, and open-eyed, not like in a, you know, there are nuances, and we have to look at them. Yeah, this one. This is 2015 when I thought. You know, there are lots of effects you put on images, right? It's fairly, you apply an algorithm to an image and it does something and it looks kind of trippy or strange or, you know, yeah. And this is kind of, I don't really like this image, but when I looked at it, I was like, there's something, this is not just an effect on Mona Lisa. There's something different. It started this conversation with me with, there seems to be a neural network which kind of starts to inspire my neural network. It's like the first time I thought like, ooh, this is like someone talking to me. Maybe it's an AI in there somewhere. At the time, Wired said like, create your own deep dream nightmares in seconds because you could upload. I found this a little bit negative. I remember this. I was like, why are they so negative about this? This is actually amazing if you really think about it. What's in there? Yeah, it still mesmerized me in a strange way. I'm gonna switch tack a little bit to the more present. This is 2 years ago, trying to text to image, trying to generate an image from text via AI, and this looked like, I don't know what it looks like. It's like someone who doesn't know to use Photoshop or something like that. I don't know. It's like, you know, what's this really? I mean, you know, great tries, but yeah, what is this really? 2 years further, landscape has changed dramatically. Amazing what all the researchers and all the people who are contributing to this is amazing. Some of it proprietary, some of it open source, some of it maybe in between, or maybe they will open source it. So I'm just gonna read these out. Cat in a suit eating a plate of cat food at a fancy restaurant. Yeah, you can see there, Mid-Journey. It's a little bit more artistic, one of these models, machine learning models. DALL-E 2, interesting. Stable Diffusion, open source model is very realistic. Sneakers inspired by Swiss cheese. I really like this one. It's yummy. Early design of Oculus Rift by Leonardo da Vinci. And I want to point out that these people who invented, does the creativity to put in this text is amazing. I mean, who comes up with these amazing ideas? City on a pizza, I found quite inspiring as well. Batman sitting in his tighty whities drinking coffee. Yeah, it's amazing. The similarity between DALL-E 2 and Midjourney is interesting. So it's good to think about all these models learn from something, and that influences what comes out of it, right? And they are certainly the creators, when they are training these models, they are doing something there. So portrait of the bearded security guard. The gaming tool is certainly one of my favorites. I think this is really creative, the images and the text. Scientists discover fire in black and white. And even though you can't really see these faces, maybe something to note, they seem to be all white men. So I'm just gonna get to this later in a second, but it's maybe to do with the black and white, but there is this kind of bias, which is a hot topic, I think. What does this mean? Don't want to go out and blame. I think there's maybe something we can improve, or there's history, and historically that's the view of scientists, yeah. Even though that's, I think that's wrong, but just wanted to highlight it. It's not, we get back to this in a second. As an artist, or I think a lot of artists, and we have amazing artists at Shuttlerock, if it's applied or if it's like art, for the sake of art, I think context and control are really, really important for every artist. Or I haven't met anyone who is like, oh, that's all right. Or they do it very deliberately. It's like, I give out 100 cameras to people and they just go to town and do whatever and we're going to show it. Yeah, but they still control that they don't have control. Yeah, so I think these are important inputs. Same as context. Where do you place your artwork, or where do you place the advert? Right? Where do you? There's a lot of, you can give meaning by context or by no context. Yeah, by a white cube has also a meaning, makes it more sterile. Just wanted to input that into this process because these text to image. They're very persuasive. They're like, oh wow. But they don't, it's important, I think, that there is inspiration in there. There's a lot of human in there as well, I think. All these models were created by humans, right? We let them loose on these data sets, but all these data sets were also created, most of it was created by humans, right? So I think that's interesting. Don't have all the answers to this, but it's something which occurred to me quite strongly. I gotta speed up a little bit. There's something called linguistic ambiguity, which is like if I say tube, if you just brush your teeth, you might think of the, the tube. While if you're in London, in the middle of London, just came out of the tube, you might think of a different tube. So it's the same for these models. It's actually quite hard to kind of nail it, what you input, what this is really mean. I think they're getting incredibly well at this, but context is hard, right? And you get often varieties where stuff means something differently. We saw this a little bit. There are different interpretations, right? Different variations of the same thing. I also want to highlight like inspiration and art direction. I always think when I'm thinking about, the artist, like in this, this kind of romanticized image of the artist, and then there's Madman, the series, which is like, the crazy process of like getting something together. A portrait, Vermeer, loves this painting, beautiful, Baroque, I think. I just want to show you some examples. There's a technique called outpainting, which has been done in painting before and can be done now with machine learning or AI, which is really amazing. I'm just going to play this for you. Okay, I'm gonna play it again, and then maybe put a little of commentary on it. So it might look like the computer is doing everything, but you can see that there's like this frame which is extending the image to the outside, right, from the original one. And there are choices being made. You might see that. There's like, it's like options, right? Someone is art directing this. Yeah, it's not fully automatic. And there are proposals being made by the AI, but there's an outpainter who is making these changes and deciding on the look and where we are going. With this. This is the final image. I think it's amazing if you think about that from this little image, just applied the AI, wow. There is more to it, though. The outpainter, as I just said, is setting the frame, but is also giving the AI input. Do this, do that, don't do that. Yeah, there's quite a lot of, it's like art direction, right? It's what an art director does, or an artist does, actually. I want this a little bit more, this a little less. Quite interesting. It's kind of an enhancement of creativity. That's how I look at it. Yeah, this is the model is OpenAI. It's very popular on the internet. Another aspect is stories. I think stories are very powerful. I think we hit this today as well. The story we just heard, amazing, right? All these other stories, wow, amazing. And there's also storyboarding. When you're creating a story, there's something called storyboarding, which is a technique where you kind of step by step you develop what we're going to say. Those of you who do this, this kind of comes natural. For people who don't do this every day, they don't think about this maybe like this. There's another example of creating stories, and this is just, technology is just starting to do this. You know, it's like still images, that's amazing. Outpainting, even more amazing, but now it's like moving image. That's kind of the next, and story and moving image is obviously closely related. So this is the Bestiary, do I spell that right? Yep, Bestiary. Chronicles. It's the first AI-generated comic by these guys are Campfire Entertainment. They're really famous, so they're not like, oops, we just did this by accident. They are like, I think, Grammy-winning in comic, but they're really like, these are experts, right? And they are embracing this. It's really, really exciting. If you look at the detail and the overall composition and the colors, and it's amazing. I mean, if you know, this is really like a level where you think like, oh wow, this is impressive, I thought. As an artist, but there's still a lot of art direction, thinking, story. There's a lot of human in there still. There's one that's a little bit more early days. I hope that you can see this all right. I'm gonna just read out what I hope you can see the prompt, but I'm gonna read it out for you as well. This is a blue balloon stuck in the branches of a redwood tree. Camera pans from the tree with a single blue balloon to the zoo entrance. Camera pans to the zoo entrance. Camera moves very quickly into the zoo. First person flying inside a first person view of flying inside a beautiful garden. The head of a giraffe emerges from the side. Giraffe walks towards the tree. Zoom into the giraffe's mouth. Giraffe gets closer to a branch and picks the blue balloon. A single helium blue balloon with a white string is flying towards the giraffe's head. Giraffe chewing on the blue balloon nearby. Camera tilting up, following the single blue balloon flying away. And this is all, wow. And this kind of, you create this kind of directions there, and they generated this, they're going more high quality going forward with this. But it's still, and there's some of these videos, they're still a little bit, this is not a real video, obviously, but you can see where this is going. I think this is really, really impressive. And there's a lot of applications. I think we can say like, oh, this is gonna be problematic, but think about the applications. If you need to pre-visualize something quickly, you're gonna communicate something to someone very quickly. Amazing if you let this kind of early research loose and think about what this is in 10 years. Where is this gonna be? This is from Google Research. Where are they going to go with this, right? Amazing. This is going to be, wow, it's going to be exciting, I think. Yeah, what does this mean for human creativity? This Chris Anderson, head of TED, every abundance creates a new scarcity, which I meant a little bit with the designers using AI. Yeah, this is going to become a commodity. People who really know what they're doing with this, which is good, right? It kind of gives them a, they see, oh yeah, it's going to change and change people's lives and jobs, but it's also generates some goodness, I think, going forward. Which kind of brings me to responsible AI. There's all these questions, and I don't have all the answers. I just wanted to, I thought like I'd bring them up and you know, start the conversation about it. Ethics, of course, that's really tough. Some of this authorship, who did this? Yeah, is it the author who writes the prompt? Is it, you know, the people who, the data set, right? Copyright, authenticity, privacy as well. Some of these models, they scrape everything from the internet. What does that mean? Is that okay? I think there are good challenges as well, where this is going to put to the test. There's also, I just want to say that stable diffusion is an open source, amazing, but there are also other things like unstable diffusion, which is a little bit more, I don't know. So I'll let quite a few challenges there. Some industry news I gathered. What is the industry doing? So Getty Images, they banned AI-generated images, but they're partnering with people working in this field with their data set. Interesting. It's a brand probably is a big factor there, is my guess. Shutterstock ban also partnering with OpenAI. We just saw the outpainting, for example, was done by them. Adobe, they focus on, they have some amazing examples as well, and collaboration, human collaboration, group collaboration. Stability AI, which is like the startup behind the open source model, they're trying to commercialize it. They got a massive investment and putting out new software. We at Shuttlerock, we are building an AI platform, but we are also training our designers, I can't stress this enough, training our designers to work and embrace this technology. So my summary, I think this is revolutionary technology, and it's truly, if I just think about the applications, I can't stop thinking where this could work out. To my previous examples in protein, for example, I'm not a protein or a bioengineer, but just to narrow down the proteins that can work, and this laborious testing to test all of this stuff, is amazing. If you just get like the probability, it's like, oh, you just have to test these 100, not these thousands. Wow, it's like the efficiency is amazing. It's for medicine and for, I think it's revolutionary, and we're just starting to understand where an AI that doesn't only analyze but also creates, where that can get us. It's moving super fast. It's astonishing. This talk is out of date while I'm giving it. It's like every day is stunning. Our people who are looking into this, they are on fire. It's amazing. You can't keep up. It's impossible. It's like, oh my God, this is really, really amazing. So there are these challenges I pointed out, but I think there are more opportunities than risks and challenges. So I like to look at it through a positive, very positive lens. I think it's generally a good idea, but I think in this kind of technology leap, particularly important to do that, to take away the fear and look at the opportunities. Yeah, we are hiring. I just wanted to slip that in. If you are interested, come meet us at the booth. Some lovely people, our team at the booth. Yeah, machine learning engineers in a very applied fashion. So we're near the Deep Research Lab. We are an applied a company who applies technology. Full stack engineers, software engineers. We work, can be remote. We are in sunny Nelson. That's also great. Both is fantastic. Yeah, have a look at our careers page. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. There you go. There's some fudge. We can eat that later because no one's offered to share theirs with me yet. Take a seat. The good news is we've got time for questions, which I'm excited about. I'm going to get lost down a rabbit hole of text to image. Anyone else in the room want to have a play with that and type in some little sentences? That was very, very cool.
Yeah, nothing of this is done by me. I have to stress this enough. This is, yeah, I'm just showing it to you.
Yeah.
This is like amazing people who invent this prompts, these people who built this model, the people who kind of had the data set, provided the data set. I just thought I'd show them to you because they are like popular, right? Yeah. And this is kind of eye-catching. That's why I thought we go with the images, but all this other stuff is equally amazing. Yeah.
My 13-year-old son's going to love it. There's some questions coming through, and it's around that copyright piece, which you said there's still a bit of ambiguity there around who has attributed the creation of an image via AI, like who owns the creative creation of an image. And there's some ethical aspects around
it's a very good question. There's the ethics part of it. There is this kind of me as a creator, or did more in the past, but I can feel for that. Like you saw that, I put a copyright on my image because I like, I was a little bit proud of it. Belongs to being an artist. You know, you are having a position, right? You're like, this is my position to this topic. This might not be nailing it, but it is a position. Yeah. So I can totally feel for that. Aside from the monetizing part is a whole different aspect of it, obviously. So I think there are some questions. I checked with a tech lawyer maybe 1.5 years ago, and he said, It's probably all right to use because you're training a model and you're not using it directly, right? I think they're going to put this to the test now. You can see they're going. Some of this goes. You see the partnering versus going after people's livelihood there, right? Like the internet changed for a lot of creators. Royalty free. We are used to that. You can like log in and download whatever you want. It wasn't like this before, right?
Yeah.
Before Adobe Stock and Shutterstock and so forth. So I can't answer the question. I think we're going to see some interesting contradictory rulings, and I hope it doesn't put too many roadblocks into the innovation piece. Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit. It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Proprietary versus open source. That's going to be interesting. I don't have an answer, but yeah, it's
still a lot of
ironing
out that we need to do.
I think so.
In that space. There's some comments in there about what does this mean for knowing what's real and what's not? Is this whole fake news thing? And the answer to that can just be
fakes.
yes.
Yeah. This kind of interesting. Adobe has put out a program. I think there are multiple ones. Adobe is, they're the makers of Photoshop and other software. And they've put out kind of warmed up or brought it to the forefront now this kind of authenticity initiative that at the camera level you kind of watermark, in device level that is captured and watermarks that this is original. We saw the same actually with digital photography, and like photoshopping things. I think it's important to note that giving images a different meaning is not new, it's not digital only. There are a lot of, when you study photography, they're like, oh, they show this person and they actually just put the frame and there's someone who is like stealing something in the background. They're repurposed. You can give meaning to imagery by context, like I mentioned that previously. So this is the next level of it, right? This is really like, oh, what's the reality I'm in? It's going to be interesting. This metaverse and all this kind of stuff. We are, in futuristic. It's going to be harder to know. I mean, it's already like this. I feel personally, in politics, I don't want to go too deep in there, but I feel sometimes like, oh, is this real or is this entertainment, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's blurry. So it's going to be getting harder and harder, I think, going forward.
How do you generate revenue from your technology? What's your revenue model?
From ours or from in general?
From yours, I think.
So we create ads and we get paid to make the ad creative by big brands, small brands. So they need ad creative to run on, I think it's quite likely most of you have seen some of the ads we made in Facebook or on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. So we have a different pricing models, but we have, for example, a subscription model where the advertiser pays us to create ad creative, and then you run that to attract business.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we do. So this is like, it's right in our. That's why I went for visual piece. It's right where we focus. So that's our very roughly our model.
Yeah, cool. Rough model. Right, we've got time for one last question. It's been upvoted 24 times. It's, do you think Germany will get out of the group stage? It's anonymous, but I would love whoever put that in there to come and just let me know.
Most votes were by you probably there.
It wasn't me.
No. I hope so. We are terrible in the beginning, but normally we are tournament. So that's my hope.
Okay.
We are a tournament team, and I hope we can make it. At least
I hope so too.
Semi-finals.
Thank you, Matthias. Please give Matthias a round of applause.
Thank you.
That was